Hey everyone, we're here with Suzanne Takowsky. She's the publisher of Beverly Hills Times Magazine. Welcome, Suzanne. This is Kellie.
Hi, Suzanne.
Ladies.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that you guys got me up and going.
I know. Well, I love what you're doing. I love the magazine. How long has Beverly Hills Times been around?
Oh, wow. I started it in my, I would say, mid-40s. I had just gotten divorced and I needed a job. And so I went to work for a local newspaper, Beverly Hills Courier. And while I was there, after about 3 months, I thought, oh my God, what am I doing working for this guy? I need to start my own business, and I need to start a magazine for women who, like me, are trying to find their place in the world and looking for options. And so my first actually magazine was called Women on Top. And it ran from the late 90s into like about 2002. And then I wanted to increase my advertising base, so I morphed it into the Beverly Hills Times.
Ah, okay, that was smart.
Yeah. Did you ever have a print version?
Yeah, all the time. Only
do you still have print?
No, I don't. I've gone online in about the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my places that we delivered to were closed. Like we were in the hotel rooms, so we were in office buildings and restaurants. Everything was locked down. So I just kept it going, and no advertisers sometimes, but just kept it going anyway. Right. Luckily, my kids are brilliant on the computer, so they are my production crew and my designers and photographers and everything.
Yeah,
yeah. I see you have lots of tech support. I see.
Oh my God, my poor husband over here has been crazy. I've been after him today. I've been like, no, we got to get it right. No. He's like, calm down. He goes, you get like hysterical when you get, and he said, it's fear. And you know what? It is fear. When you're scared of something, you
do weird things.
Don't take the right path.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah. I was reading about that in the article that you sent over, a little synopsis of your book. And I wanted to ask you about your book. What was the inspiration for you to start writing this book? And what's the name? Can you tell us what the name of the book is?
Sure. You want me to show you the cover?
Hold it up.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah. I like the cover.
Yeah. Every Woman's Life.
And then at the bottom is the most important part. It says the myth, lies, truth, and the tricks of the trade of being a woman.
There are a lot of tricks. That's true.
That's the important part, right?
It's a juggling act.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So that's neat that you got a divorce. You're trying to create your own life on your own and support yourself. And so you did Women on Top, and that morphed into Beverly Hills Times, which is now morphed into an online magazine, not print, which is going with the times. COVID just accelerated all of that. And now you're right. You wrote this book, published already, right? It's out.
It'll be published after the first of the year. What I've done is, how I got started on the book was my women are my favorite people on earth. I mean, I can't function without, my women friends. I made so many clients over the past 20 years that I'm still friends with. So women have a camaraderie that we get each other through the good times and the bad times and uncertain times. And we just hang together, and there's nothing like having great girlfriends and a great support system. So when I started Women on Top magazine, that was not intention, was to, gather women together to support each other, and we learn from each other. So I started out doing interviews, and I had front covers like Kathy Ireland back then, and Gloria Allred, and Susan Sarandon, and Suzanne Summers, tons of women on the covers, and they all told their stories. And I believe, and I know with me, because I'm an avid reader of books, somebody can say something that sparks an idea that you never thought of before. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, yes, I could do that. Yes, I can, that can help me get over this hurdle in life. Mm-hmm. Look, she did it, so I can do it. So that was my goal behind Women on Top magazine. And then when I went into Beverly Hills Times Magazine, I couldn't be as, what's the word? I don't want to say nasty. I couldn't be as
frank.
Okay, frank as I wanted to be, because in my other Women on Top, I had great articles like how to dump the dud and that kind of thing that everybody loved. And I have to say this, which is amazing, but some of my biggest supporters and advertisers in Women on Top magazine, even with articles like how to dump the dud in 3 dates and stuff, were men. And men supported Women on Top. And I would ask them, why are you supporting a magazine that says how to dump a dud, or, you know, how to stop dating Mr. Wrong, or all these stuff? And they go, we just want to know how women's mind reads.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were my biggest advertisers. They kept the magazine Women on Top going. They loved it. And then also, because I was reaching so many women, a lot of my like plastic surgeons and people like that, they wanted to reach that clientele. Mm-hmm. So then they would advertise with me. So it was when I morphed it into Beverly Hills Times, a lot of those fun articles that I want to write didn't make it in the magazine because I had to cool my jets and talk decent to people. But I still managed to get in a few funny things here and there. But so when the pandemic hit, I thought, wow, I started this book about 17 years ago. And I never really had the time to do it, to finish it. So the last year and a half, I said, now's my chance. So what I did was I went back over 3 years to Women on Top magazine. I grabbed all my interviews from women that I had. Mm-hmm. And in this one, I have, I don't think you can see it or not, but I have these celebrities. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And everybody from, oh my gosh, I've got Jane Fonda, Dolly Parton, Tara Reid, I've got Gwen Stefani, I've got Drew Barrymore, we've got Shania Twain, everybody. And so what I did is I went back and I gathered all of their interviews, which took about 4,820 years to do. And it turned into a never-ending job of gathering their interviews and putting them all into one book. So filled with life experiences of women who have been through the mill and came out, and reading through their interviews just reinvigorated me into the determination it takes to make it in life.
Wow. Kind of like Tales of the Lioness. I put together they weren't famous women, they were normal women, regular women, and stories of how they overcame some horrible things. And, you know, came out on top, Women on Top, Tales of the Lioness. Right. Yeah, Kimbra did a story in it too.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah, women are fabulous creatures. We I feel I would be happier if we did, you know, as we have taken on a lot more of the burden. Mm-hmm. I feel like men would be happier to, you know, we have morphed into their partners instead of their servants. I guess at one point it seemed like that's what, you remember, we're the homemaker and took care of the home and the man and waited on him when he got home, had his slippers ready, dinner. And we've turned into a partner. And I think that's a welcome thing for most men, not the, you know, the Neanderthal men, but most men are welcoming the partnership of women. That's I think.
Some of my chapters in my book, my first chapter, it's called Aliens Did It. They sucked our brains out of our head. And that goes into all the mistakes that we make over and over. And we always, once our back's against the wall, we always look for somebody to blame because it's so hard to take the responsibility that we make these decisions ourselves. And then when, you know, dirt hits the fan, then we look for, who can I blame? So that's the first chapter. And the second chapter is she works hard for the money in the boardroom and in the bedroom. And that is the different paths that we take in life. Some of us marry for money and some of us earn money. Some of us do both. It depends what we want out of life. And a lot from what you said a few minutes ago, everybody's different. Some women are very happy being homemakers. And I've met those women and I love those women and I'm friends with those women. They've been we've done stories together. Other women, they're looking for something else in life that they want to work towards, but they still want to have a man. They still want to get married and they want to have all the perks. But like you said, be more of a partner than a.
Yeah. And I want to clarify, servants, like the homemaker of today is not of the 50s. In the 50s, they were more subservient. And now, the men could beat their wives and the woman couldn't do anything about it. But now that has changed. So there's nothing wrong with being a homemaker. And I think that's important for women to be there for their children. So I do think as a society, we should support homemakers more too. So I want to clarify that. No, I'm not against that.
Yeah. And I am a homemaker. I mean, literally, I'm like a clothes
walker, job,
or the dog walker, the grandma, I am all those, and I love those things because those give me a break from work. And I'm lucky to have a husband and kids that support me. And I mean, when I first started the magazine, I didn't know who I was going to get to advertise. My husband went out and said, he knows all the rich guys in town. He went out and said, hey, you got to buy an ad in my old ladies magazine right now. We're like, okay, we will. And that's what kept me going. He got like the Bacardis in, and he got like a ton of ads for that first year that really launched me. And sometimes, we're all rags and we're carry too much burden, but that's one of my other chapters in my book. And, and it's all about that. We have to learn to start asking for help more. As today's superwomen, we tend to believe that we can do it all and we can do it all, but we have to start saying, I need help. And one of the things I stress in the work chapter, don't be afraid to ask for help. It's better to ask for help and to look brilliant
excuse me,
than to pretend you know it all, do the wrong job and look like a schmuck.
Right.
Just asking for help is one of the best qualities of a leader, because nobody can get where they are without help. So don't be afraid to ask for help. If you want the kids to take the dishes to the sink, take them to the sink, do your part. So we're not left as homemakers doing everything.
Right. I agree. I'm big on asking for help.
And I think that would make you feel like a servant too, in a home environment, working like a team, because a lot of time, you see those movies where the woman just fit one day and says, do this anymore. I'm not this, I'm waiting on everyone. She's picking up everybody's dirty clothes. And, it's a team. It should be more like a team than the woman being just a servant to the people in the home.
But I also think too, that it's up to us as educators to help people understand their part in things. It doesn't have to get to the boiling part where we bring the Godzilla out of the closet to get our point across. I think, just saying, hey, I need help, with this, or I need help, kind of gets everybody in the mood to want to help, as opposed to being a witch and end up screaming because we're so overwhelmed that we don't know where to turn.
That's a good point. I used to do that a lot.
That's more me. Yeah.
Yeah. I let things build up and then I go, wah!
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
You start feeling taken advantage of. You keep taking on, you don't want to say no. So okay, I'll do that. And then you let it build up, and one day I'm mad at everyone.
Right.
Right. And it's really, you let it happen.
Now, I did a great interview with Gloria Allred, and we talked about superwomen. And she says there's no such thing as a superwoman. And 2 or 3 of my other interviews have said the same thing. I don't know who came up with superwoman, but they need to be thrown into a forest with some stabbing pygmies that are going to put them in their place, because having to live up to the image of Superman or superwomen, both is just too much to bear for a human being.
It's unrealistic and unfair. Yeah. To put expectations on someone. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
true. So, well, that sounds like a fascinating book. It's very friendly, but men could learn from it too. So I think everybody would benefit from reading. And then the interviews, you said you went back through all these interviews. So are you talking about the interviews? Are they intertwined in the book?
The whole book is interviews.
Okay.
Is all of these women's interviews. And then of course I weave in different parts of my life and things that I've gone through as a mom, as a businesswoman, you know, as a divorcee, trying to make it alone, you know, starting a new life. I, you know, put in each chapter, I had sent over one of my chapters, I think it was on the Good Love and Gone Bad chapter, I had sent over to Kimberly, to Kimbra to say, check a look at it. And she went back and she goes, oh my God, what's this? Because it's the good love and gone bad. You know, it's who we end up with that can make or break our lives. Sometimes it's better to be alone until we meet the right person, you know, that fits in. But, you know, I not just the celebrities are in there. I've gotten so many interviews over the year from psychologists, psychiatrists, you know, people like John Paul DeJoria. We have, you know, we have Michael Phelps. And so it's not just a man hater book. It's a, you know, we got some great dudes in there too.
Yeah. I saw Bret Michaels and I was like, he's cute.
Yeah. He was in your magazine, I believe, right?
Yeah. He was on the cover of one of them. I've got your website pulled up here. I'm looking at all the covers. Shania Twain and Michael Phelps, Bret Michaels. Who else did I see that I knew? Garth Fisher. I met him a long time. Fisher, he's the plastic surgeon, right?
Yeah,
Dr. Garth Fisher.
A good client of mine for almost from day one when he opened his practice. All the plastic surgeons are my friends.
He was known for doing really good work.
Yeah, and what I did with intertwining people into between the interviews with the celebs, like the guys, like Garth Fisher and Raj Kanodia and the big plastic surgeons of Beverly Hills and health and wellness experts. I have Tony Horton in. I have a bunch of those guys. What I did with them was I didn't give them like as much space as I gave my interviews for the women, but I have great quotes by them in, and especially got on plastic surgery, beauty, health, and fitness, great interview quotes from them on, especially when it comes to beauty and women and how not go overboard with the plastic face look and how we can judge, how we can stay looking young without looking like a mannequin and different things that they've contributed that everything is something for us to read to help us in our life so that we don't make mistakes and then go back and go, oh my God, what did I do? And so we can maybe forge ahead a little bit with a clear mind.
That's great. I was going to ask you about your magazine. How often does it come out? Beverly Hills Times.
Well, we were doing once a month or once every 6 weeks, but since this has all started, I do one about every 7 or 8. You know, actually, whenever I feel like it.
It's good to be a queen.
Queen. Between the book, that's what I'm saying. I'm so happy to be with you guys today because see my shirt, like I have an actual like nice shirt on instead of like a t-shirt. The shirt I wear around. Right? My favorite shirt is, it says, if they can put one man on the moon, why can't they put all men on the moon? So that's my favorite shirt to wear. But I didn't want to ruin you guys' show today by putting that on.
Right. So, you dressed up for us.
Hair and all just for you. You look beautiful. Both of you just look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. We've got it down to a science. You know, we know we know how to film ourselves.
Hair, lighting, and makeup. Yeah, and I'm usually in my sweats and a t-shirt too because I work from home, so I get it.
I'm working from home. It's like you know, while I go into my husband's office or whatever, but there's some days that my butt is numb.
Right. I know.
I can spend 12, 14, 16 hours a day working.
Yep.
That's what my normal day is like. So, you know, to actually get up and walk around and dress up and do my hair, this is great.
I was gonna ask you, Suzanne, too.
I'll drag my husband out after this so he can actually see me with, you know, out in public with
right. Look at, she's all dolled up. I was going to ask you about your book. Out of all the women that you interviewed, was there one or two interviews that really stood out, that really surprised you? Like any interesting stories?
Oh my gosh. there's been so many. I think Shania Twain was a very heartbreaking interview. You know, to go through Mel B, who from the Spurs was another one. There's been so many. The one thread that I found almost through everyone, from Christy Brinkley to, I don't know, like Dolly Parton, and to, you know, I did it, Erin Brockovich, actually. She was a contributor in the magazine for a while. The one thing that was amazing to me was you look at someone now and you see them for who they are right now. And it's hard to believe the road they traveled to get where they are. And almost every single woman started out either in poverty, as a child that was unwanted, and grew up in a family that they were insecure about, came from a horrible, destructive, abusive marriage that they got out of, had a child out of wedlock. They had to find a job to support the child because they weren't getting any child support. Drew Barrymore, another huge interview of some kid that came out of something that could have been devastating and turned it all around into prosperity and knowledge and an education for all of us. So I think with all of the interviews, it's been about, basically the bottom line is starting from scratch, overcoming adversity, and never, ever, ever stopping because someone said no.
Persistence.
Keep going, no matter. Don't say no and don't hear no. You don't do it. Give everybody a chance to say what their piece. Take what you can from what they say and disregard. Just don't listen to the rest. And if somebody says no to you, you just keep going. When I first started the magazine, it was in the late 90s. I was in a boys club, and you wouldn't believe what some of the other male publishers did to me. One of them was actually stealing my magazines and throwing them in the trash.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I read that.
That was crazy. And I had never really confronted anybody before, and I had to step up and call him on the phone and go, "Hey, dude, take one more magazine, and you're going to be hearing my voice in court." And I had to stop him, and that was my first lesson. After only being in business for like 3 months, was that the number one thing is sticking up for ourselves no matter what. And don't let anybody sidestep us from what we believe is our true intention in life.
And men like that when you do that. They really don't like women that stand up for themselves. You know, they feel threatened, and it's shocking to them. They expect it from a man, but not from a woman. And they think they can take advantage of you. And then when you stand up for yourself, it's such a shock because they're not prepared. So yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm like, I had one man tell me, "You're not a woman, you're a man," in business. And I said, "Thank you very much.
I'll take that as a compliment."
That. I did. He was trying to insult me, and I did take it as a compliment because I was fighting as hard as a man would. And I was right. So I wasn't going to back down. But yeah, I like that.
I think too, women have, we've grown up to believe that we have to people please, and that we shouldn't confront people. When something goes wrong, we just bite the bullet. Look at the hashtag Me Too movement. Okay. Women suffering for years and years and years because they couldn't say no to a boss, or some idiot couldn't keep his paws in his pocket at work, or whatever it is. So I think listening to those stories and coming into our own, we believe that we don't have to be on fire to get what we want. We can be, act in a respectable way to everyone, respectful way. But I do believe that it's important for us to not be afraid to say no, to stand up for ourselves. And one thing I learned working in the public eye, there's probably a lot of people out there that don't like me. And I don't care.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm nice to everybody. I do my best that I can do to please them in their magazine and writing articles and do stuff. But there's got to be people out there that don't like me, and that's okay by me. Everybody has their opinions, and I'm not here to please everybody. I'm just here to do the best that I can do.
Good for you. That's great.
I always say that you can stay mediocre and please everyone, or you can rise to your greatness and you're going to ruffle some feathers. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the points that I'm trying to get across in the book for women is there's certain things that we've been taught we shouldn't do. And we have to kind of unlearn those things and say, yeah, it's okay to step forward and take care of ourselves. You know, it's okay to say no. It's okay to do certain things that, you know, we need to do to not only advance in our careers, but advance as human beings and make and feel better about ourselves.
Absolutely. Yep. I think that's wonderful.
Agreed. Yeah. Well, fascinating story that you came up with all this and walked into a man's world, because the publishing world is still now very much a man's world. And that you did it way back then is very commendable. And by the way, I'm looking at you and you've been flattering us and you look beautiful. You look lovely too today. And so we appreciate that you got all dolled up for us.
Well, I'm headed towards my next birthday, which is in the triple digits now.
Well, you look great for 102.
Thank you. Thank you, Kimbra. I appreciate it. I told everybody, I said, don't call me. No presents. Right. No cards. I said, after my birthday passes, we'll wait a couple of weeks and then we'll have lunch and have a drink. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to this birthday at all.
Oh,
no.
Well, you look amazing, and you're doing so many things. You're still working, and you're doing something that you love. So that's really great. Right.
And you should be proud. I mean, we should be proud of our birthdays. We should be proud that we made. I know the feeling too.
You guys are like,
I don't like celebrating mine, but
no, you guys are like 12 and 13. Okay. When you start getting up there, okay.
Yeah. Right. Then you kind of go, well, you know what? My one friend, she always like, I'm proud. She's like, what's the alternative? You know?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. And you're just that much more wise and wiser and more experienced. And I embrace getting older. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but you know, we don't like some of the stuff that comes along with it.
Right.
I just wish I knew back then what I know now.
Of course. Yeah, that's so true. Right. I think about that all the time. I wanted to ask you before we run out of time, where can people buy your book? I know you said it's coming out next year, right?
Well, I'm sure it's going to be available on Amazon. I have someone that is going to be a publicist that's going to be promoting it for me. I hope to get out the word to every living woman on the planet of Earth that I can reach, because I really believe that what is included in the book by all the wise women who have contributed is just, you know, it's like a Bible for women with all their experiences. So I'm very proud of being able to interview these women and have them confide in, you know, their things with me. But believe me, you will be one of the first to know.
Well, good. Yeah. Because we want to publicize it as much as we can. Women are strong, you know, but you're so right that it's like, we need to learn how to ask for help and delegate, you know, because that's the one thing that a lot of, from my experience, women I know, were afraid to ask, you know.
Sometimes too.
What's that?
Like, I need help. You need people to delegate too.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah. You got to have your staff.
I think going back to the Superwoman thing in the 70s or 60s kind of put the spark in it that we have to do everything to be acknowledged or respected or to be considered a superwoman. And there is no superwoman. It's a fallacy that came out of that era. And what we have to do is fight it and say, yeah, I need help. Yes.
Yeah. We're just humans.
It's not.
Yeah. You can't do it all.
Yeah.
True. I agree.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Suzanne, for coming on. And maybe we'll have you back after the book is out. Right?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Girl power. I love what you're doing. I'm so supportive and I'm a fan. I didn't know you before, but now I'm a big fan. So thanks for sharing everything with us. Really nice to meet you, Suzanne.
Stay safe this weekend.
Yeah, okay. You too.
Thanks.
We will.
Okay. You take care.
To you soon. Okay. Bye.
Bye.